Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye has friends. No, really, Jeff has friends. Jeff's friends are on this podcast. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship.
Friendship.
Welcome to Jeff Dye's Friendship Podcast. Thanks for coming back, guys. Last week's episode, woo, what a doozy. JC Carias, we love that dude. Thanks for being on. Thanks to all the Patreon subscribers. If you're not a Patreon subscriber, go over to Patreon, subscribe. You'll be able to watch this episode or all the other episodes. Also free tickets for life to all my stand-up comedy shows. Get little surprises in the mail. Live stream with me at some point when I have a free minute or we get more subscribers. But anyways, thank you guys. You guys made this all possible. Thanks, Joe McKenzie, for that opening intro and outro song that is, everyone keeps messaging me is so catchy. This week's guest, one of my favorite human beings on the planet. I don't say that for a lot of people. I love everyone, but this guy is a very special dude to me. Comes from Seattle. I thought I was going to have to give a warning to this episode about how homery it would be. I thought for sure we would like gush about the Mariners and the Seahawks and the Sonics, but to the delight of me, this episode is very un-Seattle-ish and just great stories from Adam's life. I know you guys are going to love it. We didn't intro the episode because he's so easy to talk to. We just went right into it. No Aaron March this week. First episode without Aaron March. The Cal Ripken Jr. streak has ended, but he'll be back next week. We miss you, Aaron. We loved you, buddy. But we still got Tone Dog, and he is the new Cal Ripken of the podcast. You're going to love this. Adam Ray does huge things. He's been on pretty much a zillion movies at this point, little bit parts and stuff. He was the lead bad guy in a Sandra Bullock, Megan McCarthy movie, which was really great. What was the name of it? I forget. The Heat. Sorry. You go to my cheat sheet. I hire a man to read me things when I forget titles. He's so funny and so talented, and I think one of the funniest people out there. You guys are gonna love this episode, so enjoy. Or you know who you had that I'd really like? It sounds so stupid, but Goo Goo Dolls. It's my fucking favorite band ever. You've had them a bunch, haven't you?
Is it really?
Dude, I'm obsessed. In fact, I talk about...
Oh, you're going to the show at the Palladium with me and we'll just hang backstage and watch the show.
I've mentioned it on every TV show I've been on NBC because it always gets a fucking laugh. I mention on every MTV show I have.
Because there's such a nostalgic 90s band.
And the name Goo Goo sounds funny, so it gets like a laugh. Yeah. And then young people are like, he likes Goo Goo Dolls. But I do. And so I'm getting laughs, which I love, but I'm also being sincere. I fucking love the Goo Goo Dolls.
Maybe I'll see
on Better Late Than Never. It got mentioned and everyone was sharing the thing because Jeff Dye likes the Goo Goo Dolls and they tagged them in the thing. But I love those guys.
Let me see... so I opened for them in Arizona, and they wanted me to go. Yeah, because they. They are wanting to. They're like, they want me to open for the whole tour, and I'm like,
that'd be amazing.
But I did it in Arizona. It was like I went to the Hawks game and was using my girlfriend's parents, and then I was like, oh, they're going to be there too. And then they were like, oh, you should go open in front of us, just because we gotten chummy enough to where they're like,
when they say, do you want to open in front of us? Do they throw you some scratch?
No.
Okay. And
that's why, and then I don't think they, the manager I've got to be real good friends with too. And he's like, yeah, I think they don't truly get that, because I was like, yeah, man, if I were to go actually out with you, you would have to fly me out, put me up, throw me enough to make it worth it. I was like, I'm doing it tonight because it's a fun thing, because I was going to the show anyway.
At once, yeah.
And I wanted the challenge of, I've done rock venues before, but when it's people are coming for comedy, like when I was on one of the tours with Adam Devine, it was like a venue, a rock venue, but everyone's coming to see. Yeah. So this no one, and then then I'm like, all right, well, I want that challenge of this could go horribly wrong, and every now and then I think you gotta try to put yourself in that position and flex that muscle, and they're like, what kind of an intro? I was like, well, don't do any light change first of all, because if the lights go down, everyone's gonna go nuts, and then
Who's this
doesn't matter
guy
what you
walking
say.
out?
Yeah,
That's even wise to tell them that. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have thought of that.
And then they go, what do you want for the intro? They go, please welcome our friend Adam Ray. I go, nah. I go, don't do any credits. I go, don't, maybe just say our friend comedian.
Yeah.
But even that was so, like, as soon as a guy got on the God mic, people thought that was, so people started going nuts. And then he did my intro and nobody could hear it. So then I go, oh, fuck, man. I walk out and I immediately say, like, welcome to the first night of the, it's the 20th anniversary of their Dizzy Up the Girl tour. And then I was like,
Great
I gotta,
album, by the way.
amazing album. And then I was like, I gotta do a joke like immediately after I get them fired up, just to welcome them to the party, and got some laughs. And then I just pounded for 20 minutes, like of just because there was about 1,200 up front standing listening, and then there's probably another 600-700 in the back at the bar, like in a House of Blues setup where you're like, I'm not gonna even try to battle for their attention because they're just like, who the fuck is this guy? I think he played Wolverine.
When's music on?
Yeah, and then when's the music on? Yeah, he's not in the Goo Goo Dolls, and so then. And it was fun, and it was a good. But I was definitely, what it reminded me of, which is so funny that I'm here and just talking about this right now. I think the first true bar show I did was with you in.
Yeah.
Was it Spokane?
Which I'm going to Spokane this weekend. So it's so funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was no joke. That had to have been the first bar show I did, because I'll never forget it, because I remember it was the first gig I felt like I was doing with like a professional headlining comedian, like somebody that I looked up to and that was doing his thing, was on the rise, and then you bringing with me and bringing me with you.
We had fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. But like, it was the first show that I'd done where you had the elements that you had to battle, other than you couldn't just worry about being funny. It was like, I remember there were still TVs on, and I went up to, I don't know, I can't remember if there was a host or not, but I remember getting brought up with, not a lot of opportunity to succeed right away. But then it was the first fight or flight, like, what are you going to do? Are you going to like let the audience, you can't yell at them to be quiet. I immediately had an innate understanding of like, don't say, hey, listen to me. Like that's not going to help. So you
pay attention. Like a teacher.
Hey,
I'm going to count to 3. And if you guys... Like, that is a weird thing too.
Yeah.
There's been moments like that where comics are like, oh wait, I saw Richard Pryor do it like on a DVD, and then like I've seen Chappelle do it, and crowds then start policing each other. They're like, hey, be quiet, and they're like, fuck you. Like it's never works out.
Yeah. You just have to be funny. But then you're like, if that's, and so I definitely felt myself like getting louder and trying to, but then it was also like, just be commanding, and like be, almost like if you're in the woods and a bear, sees you, don't they say like, get big instead of like, which by the way, I will never do. No. I'm going to curl in a ball and just pour ketchup on myself and be like, at least be a tasty
hope bears
Jew.
like ketchup.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Yeah, hope bears like ketchup. Be like, I'm going to go out with, at least I gave somebody something to, feel good about. Because at least I would like to think that I would have the
I just
balls
think
enough.
of your mom. Oh, Adam, she's reading the paper. He poured ketchup on. He's like that. He's a sweetheart. He cares. He loves the animals. He does his best, but he's also, he gave up because it's a bear. And he's a funny guy.
Yeah. The bear's now staying with us because I felt bad. It didn't have a home. Oh, Mom.
My son's in there.
Yeah. He's in the bear who's in my son's room. So it's like he's still with us.
The snacks gets to Adam. That's his mom.
My only downside is he raids the pantry a lot at night, but that's on me because it's stacked with honey and honey grams. So,
Well, Adam liked honey too.
He liked honey. He was a bear himself. Not like a gay man, but he was... Isn't that what the term is, the West Hollywood bear?
Have you had your mom on?
Oh, 3 times.
Okay,
and
good.
She's a fan favorite.
I'm doing a thing, and I don't want to say the idea, but we would love to have you and your mom do it.
Yeah.
It's going to be wildly successful,
Yes.
I think. Yeah.
Better late than never, mom edition.
No, but you and your mom would be a home run for this.
My mom wants to do anything and everything. The amount of videos I've taken of her that
for sure it's in her. She wants to be Barbara Streisand.
Oh yeah. Well, she said she wants to come back in a second life as Barbara Streisand, which she said after we had smoked a joint for the first time, and we were upstairs in the bathroom because my stepdad's not a fan. And so, but he wasn't home, so she's like, we can fucking do it. And we're upstairs, and she's got bad arthritis. And so
I'm not a big Barbara Streisand fan either. Just for the record.
Oh, yeah.
But your mom loves her, and I love
but
your
if my mom
so.
came back in a second life as her, you'd be like, well, I'll go see that show.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, that's incredible. You came back.
How does this work? What happened to the Barbara that was in this body? I know now Putin's in there, but like, why?
Well, Barbara's in me, and I'm inside the bear. So,
We're sharing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we, she's like, first of all, she's really got a lot of overly cautious concerns because she hadn't smoked in like 30 years. She said she stopped when she knew she wanted to have kids because they didn't know what the effects would be. So she's like, I don't know if it'll make you. I remember I was literally telling this story on stage.
I'm afraid my
once.
son will be a rapper.
Yeah. Dude, I literally was on stage trying to explain this once. I was like, yeah, my mom stopped smoking pot when she was like, in her 30s because she didn't know like what the effects. Well, clearly you're seeing them right now. It's just having trouble like articulating. But so
secondhand,
I take a hit and then I blow it out like kind of quicker than maybe normal. And she just goes, you got to hold it in your lungs, get a better high. And then she just starts laughing and goes, Jesus Christ, I'm doing drugs with my son. I'm still mothering him. And then we went upstairs and just made a ton of cookies and laughed. And then she's like, all of a sudden we're sitting there, it's dead silent. And she just looks over at me and she goes, what's Twitter? Like a tiny boy being like, when's Christmas? How much is a Twitter? And I just start laughing. So I get out my phone and I go, I got to just videotape a response. And maybe I'll consent to you and you can pull it up at some point. But the audio, she goes, what's Twitter? And I go, well, what do you think it is, Mom? And she goes, well, I think you write something and then you send it out to everybody. But if you don't have any followers, it's just like you're talking to yourself.
Absolutely.
And I go, that's exactly what it is. And then I go, what would your Twitter name be? And she goes, I be jazzin'.
Oh my gosh.
Because he loves jazz music.
That's a great
she's
name.
A fucking kook. But
I bet that's taken though.
It probably is.
Yeah, probably now.
Probably by Streisand.
Yeah.
Taking all the good Twitter handles.
You know about that bar show you're referencing in Spokane? It was a long time ago. I've never told this story about that gig. I think we've talked about it. A lot of things happened. One time I just woke up in my own car in the back seat and Adam was getting a ticket and then I got a ticket for not being buckled up on that trip. Another one was we showed up to the house where we were staying and just some old man in like boxer shorts only was there eating like chicken. And we're like, why are you here? And he's like, and he just like went in the other room.
That wasn't an answer, man.
We didn't know. We're like, why is a man sleeping?
And then he's like, you and my girlfriend at the time, he's like, you guys can stay there. And he's like, one of you guys can stay with me. And it was just like, nah, you slept. I don't know where you slept.
I slept in some weird side room that I don't even think was a room.
Yeah, because he's like, I've got a bed. I've also got a spoon that's open. It's my arms if you want to just cuddle up. And you're like, no, I'll take that side room, man.
It was frightening. We didn't know why there was a man there.
Yeah, I remember being so... And you know what's so funny? When you're doing early road gigs like that, you chalk so much of the experience up to like, it's the road, baby.
This is what it is.
So this is what it is. I got to get used to this lifestyle, living on the edge.
Yeah. That's part of it. An old man comes in your room every hour and starts asking if you want pancakes. That's part of the road. You're like, no, you don't have to put up with him.
No, you don't have to, man. You could have driven back. You could have slept in your car.
You could have asked for an actual hotel.
That's got to be tough. Like, I do want pancakes.
But I know.
I don't want this guy to know he's welcome.
Yeah.
Well, so this is the story I've never told about that gig. I stole a joke. Like my nerves were going. Sometimes when you're in a room where they're not listening to stuff, like you start getting a little nervous. I did a joke that I knew was not my joke. I just told it.
Yeah.
I panicked. I stole a joke for that show only, obviously. Yes. And a girl in the audience knew I stole the joke because the comic that I'd taken it from was there the prior week. And she goes, that guy did that joke last time. I was like, shut up. And so I remember like looking in the back like for comedians or you and being like, all right, no one's noticing. No, I wrote that joke and I gave it to him. But now we kind of just both do it whenever we want.
Yeah. Which, by the way, if you don't know comedy, you're just like, I guess that's how it works.
Yeah.
They just use each other's material.
I was like, I'm never stealing a joke ever. Even thinking remotely. I panicked. And they got called. It's like stealing. You'll steal a bunch, and then when you get caught, you go, I never steal.
Oh, dude, I used to steal. I worked at Albertsons all through high school, bagging groceries, and then was a customer service booth, which, by the way, was just like so insane because, look, I enjoy people to a certain extent, but like that job really tests your tolerance to handle stupidity, and you get it in the highest form because people come in and they just assume. Like my boss would always tell me and tell them, like customers always right. But like there's a woman. Do you remember A plus cola?
Yeah.
You remember A plus cola?
What if the customer says all these groceries are free? No, you're not right.
No. Yeah, these should be cheaper. And the boss is like, you're right. So take them for the price you think that you should pay.
Right.
It's not an honor system. It's fucking
right.
society. And so there's an A plus cola machine outside, and this woman.
I don't remember that. You asked me. I don't remember.
It was like almost like a select cola, just one of those like off brands.
Okay, it's probably like a Safeway brand or something.
Yeah,
only existed outside
Albertsons brand.
Yeah, outside the grocery store. So a woman comes in with a bag of lemon lime A+ colas, probably like 12
Rip
of them.
off 7-Up. That's what that is.
Exactly. Tasted like piss. And so she comes in with a bag of them and she's like, I want my money back. And I go, Jesus. I go, that's a lot of A+ cola. I go, what happened? You know, and I'm just, by the way, I'm 17. I'm just some shithead high school kid that's like, look, I'm trying not to get caught stealing film that my friends come in after their trips to Europe and that I also, you know, am stealing because there are no cameras. And I'm trying to like hopefully get the money right and not, you know, tattle on my buddy who's stealing credit cards and going out and buying
We're in
shoes
this together.
Yeah, exactly.
Has any teenager ever worked somewhere and not just been the biggest piece of shit
Not
in the world?
in this era either. Like,
Did you?
I don't know.
You didn't steal anything when you're working?
No.
Really? You didn't take advantage?
I'm a big puss.
Yeah, I know, but you're a great guy. I've given you credit for that. I'm done shaming you for even teasingly for those kind of things. But I just think if I own a company, I'm never hiring a teenager ever again. At Hollywood Video, we robbed the place blind. We took product, we took money,
say
we took
Hollywood
candy.
Video?
Yeah, we took everything.
Yeah.
Soda pop. Then I worked at a different restaurant. We're stealing food and we're bringing things up. Like, I can't hooking customers up for free.
Yeah.
Dude, I would steal the games at Hollywood Video. My buddy, I was vice president. He was president at high school, and he was kind of a little bit of a pushover. Like, I would run the assemblies because I was like, dude, you're not making them funny. I got to just take over. And he was real soft-spoken.
Hey,
and
man, you're not funny, dude, but you're bombing.
Yeah, you're bombing this assembly,
We're
man. It's a
switching.
big deal. It's the whole fucking school. The principal's watching, man. And so he'd come in. He's like, Adam, dude, you have MLB 2001. You've had it for almost 2 years. I go, yeah, it's real fun, man. He goes, you got to bring that back. I go, Jerry, dude, that's not going to happen. He goes, you have to. He goes, I'm going to make you buy it. I go, that's not going to happen either. I go, I'm going to school in LA next year. I go, it'll probably come with me. I go, you know, let's just hopefully we run into each other at some point and maybe we'll play a game just for old time's sake.
Straight mob stuff.
And he was
like,
just like,
that's not happening.
No,
So you can,
I was like, it's really fun. He goes, you got to bring it back. And there's how much of a pushover he was. He just goes, come on, man. I go, nah. And he goes, all right. I'll see you at school on Monday for the assembly you're going to run.
Yeah.
You
But-
should do a bit about that. It's exactly how America treats the national debt.
I know,
like,
dude.
Like we're just like, we're not
Such
paying
a
that.
dick.
And they're like, you know that the debt is now in the billions. Like, yeah, will you make it 20 billion? We're never going to pay it.
Yeah.
We
But
don't
it's really
care.
fun.
We're not paying.
Yeah.
How big can we get the number? Because we really don't give a shit. It's like Brant Tobler with like student loans or something. He's like, go ahead, take it. I don't give a fuck. I'm never getting this money.
So this woman, she has a bag of A+ cola, and I go, it's probably at least 12 lemon limes, and she goes, I wanted root beer, and I got 12 lemon limes, and there's a quarter for.
Well, learn to read.
Yeah, exactly.
Also,
There's
it's in color. That's green and that's brown.
For sure. Well, so her claim was the machine's fucked up. I put in a quarter, which is how much the sodas are, and I got 12 lemon limes, and I wanted root beer. So now I take a second
12.
to assess the situation and go, all right. And then I just pause and I go, well, this is bullshit. First of all, I'm on your side because root beer is also my favorite soda, and lemon lime is a shit choice. It's like you want apple for Jolly Ranchers, and you know what I'm saying. And she's just like, I don't know what you're. Yes, root beer is the best. We are seeing eye to eye on that. And then I'm like, well, this is fucking bullshit. I go, now I do got to ask, at what point did you go, looks like I'm probably not getting root beer today? You know, I go, you got 12 sodas here.
You
at
just
a
kept
quarter
putting quarters
a pop.
in.
I go, did you think maybe at $5 in quarters you weren't going to get root beer today? And then she just, which is like, again, such a shithead thing to say. And
No,
she
it
just goes,
isn't.
she
You're
goes,
not wrong.
I know. She goes, you calling me stupid? I go, I think you just said it yourself, but I think, again, don't say that. Like,
Even the pop machine's calling you stupid, lady. You're trying to hit us some weird RC root beer generic cola lottery.
How many
It's
times-
not coming.
this machine's defective. So then my boss comes over because she's getting loud. And he's like, what's going on? She's like, he's calling me stupid. And my boss immediately takes her. So I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, yo, man, she fucking kept trying for root beer.
Wait till you hear it. She is stupid.
I didn't do
You stood
anything
your
to say
ground.
sorry. Stood my ground. Yeah, she's a dum-dum. She kept wanting root beer. Give her lemon lime. You got to fucking read the room, you know? And she's, and so then he goes, all right. And he gives her all her quarters back. And then goes out and like opens the machine and gives her root beers. I mean, just really, this guy went above and beyond.
Yeah. Was he the president of the high school? Or was he the
No,
pushover?
this
That's
hilarious. He's a boss who's been running Albertsons for like 30 years. So he
Good
just
guy.
was, yeah.
He's like, I'm used to dum-dums. I've worked here for 30 years. Adam, this is going to happen every day.
I know. Yeah. But it was just really, and that was, I mean, that's one of like, that's why, you know, I have so many stories written down in notebooks of just like when I was like, God, someday I'm going to make a show about all these characters and just the people because the interactions are so insane. And also it's such in the Lake Forest Park where I grew up, that Albertsons is such a communal, it was in like the LFP Town Center where there was, there was a Hollywood video and a Subway and a Baskin Robbins, just all these and a bread place, just all. But it was also central it was the only mall in our little community, and so everyone went to that store. And when I worked there freshman year, all my buddies would come in while I was working. They were at the lake, in the summertime, so everybody went there. So you see like the same parents and the same people coming in shopping at 11. One night, it was just me bagging groceries, and then one night manager and one night checker, and it's like 11:30. Albertsons closes at midnight. And a lot of people come in and do late night shopping, right? And so it was one particular night, there's probably 35 people in line, and there's only the manager is checking because the one checker is on his break. So he's in the corner on the phone, and I'm closing out the till customer service booth and chatting with him. And a woman comes over just out of the line and goes, "Hey, you want to fucking come over and help take another line open? There's 40 people in line. It's 11:30. No one wants to be standing in line fucking all this late." And she's just straight up, belittling him. And he's on the phone with his girlfriend. He's like, "Ma'am, I'm on my break. I don't know what to tell you." She said, "I don't give a fuck what you're doing." She goes, "I'm trying to get the fuck out of here." I was just yelling at him. So I'm standing there, and then again, just...
What do you want me to say? I've got a girlfriend.
You want me to break up with her so you can get your bagel bites? And she's like, "I do," And so I told my ask. So I'm sitting there again watching him just take this verbal abuse and some shit again, and she's like, "Please get out the phone, come help, do your job." And then it just hits a level, and I just go, "Well, maybe you shouldn't shop so late." And then my buddy looks at me and goes, "No." He goes, "Shut up." And she goes, "Who the fuck are you?" She goes, "What's your name?" I immediately cover my name tag. No, I immediately cover my name tag, and I go, "Vince," which is like one of the top managers. So I'm scrambling, thinking like, "Oh, good, you got away with that one. No one's named Vince
Good
here
improv.
except the top manager." So she calls the next day, and Vince comes in. He's like, "Hey man, what the fuck are you throwing me under the bus for?" I'm like, "I
you
panicked."
did that.
Yeah, you did that. yeah.
Well, here's one thing I wanted to ask you. One thing I'm like very drawn to, even the first time I ever met you, is that your commitment to humor and comedy and like going for the laugh and everything, even when the worst things happen to you or the weird things socially happen, or like we get weird customer service at Cracker Barrel or whatever the million moments that happened, even in the first weekend that I met you. Your mind goes, how can this be funny? No matter how negative it is, how can this be funny? No matter how positive it is, how can this be fun? Yeah, and I think that we click that way. Even when you tell me stories about when you were young, you were that way. Yeah. So you said you used to like use, and we had this in common. You used to go in front of the assemblies and you would give speeches or you'd run for office or something. Yeah. Just because you knew you'd get an audience. Yeah. Or like the teacher, you'd improv to the teacher like, "Oh, toast. I love toast." And you would just start
speech
going
class.
In speech class.
I had to give a speech about it, and I came in with like
Didn't
toast.
Prepare, just started improvising
just
about
winging
toast.
all the things you can do with toast and like how it brings like, and just, improvising. I had like bullet points of like, what would be funny to talk about, like get real serious though, like being like, there's statistically 68% of marriages are saved because of toast is a morning thing. Like it just is bullshit. And like
all the
committing to
students
it.
are into it, and the teacher's just like, "I don't." Like,
she gave me a C+ because she's like, "Look, it was kind of funny, but like you didn't prepare at all." She's like, "I was impressed you pulled it off, but like I'm giving you a C+ because you didn't prepare." And I'm like, "Yeah, but could you tell?" And she's like, "I mean, I knew." I was like, "Ask anybody else. Like they probably think that was a great speech on toast."
Enthusiast. Yeah. What do you think made you like that? I mean, you're like. Your sister isn't a comedian. No. You're what is it about you that's like, no, like this should be funny and this should be comedy. This should be a character. This should be.
I think I just always, I think, first of all, just being probably going through, like as a default, I ended up being like a better kid because when it was just my sister and I with my mom, and she was, getting into some trouble and like causing my mom a lot of just stress and heartache. And so I think as a default, I was like, all right, like I am going to, get my schoolwork on to just not be a problem. Sure. And then I think that just bled into, I really always liked being at school around people and trying to like make people laugh, and teachers, and I think it obviously like got in the way of schooling. And even when I was like third chair clarinet in band, like 5th grade through 8th grade, I'd be in the back there and and constantly making people laugh and get in trouble. And my the conductor's like, "Dude, you gotta you're being so disruptive." And I'm like, "Mr. Harshman, I have 3 notes in every song. You can't expect me to sit there and just fucking watch everyone else flourish."
7 songs later, it's like, "Oh, my moment's coming."
Dude, I remember being at a concert and it was just really like, and he's like, instruments up and you hold up, and then again, and would be like, and then put it down and just count like 98 measures of rest. And my mom's up in the corner being like, what the fuck's going on? What is this bullshit that I bought? I bought a clarinet for this shit?
Yeah.
You know, and
But even that, like, think about that. That would make a parent enraged and make a student bored.
yeah.
And in your mind, you're thinking, like, how ridiculous is all this?
Yeah.
How crazy. All the other students, they're thinking, no, this is serious. I have a clarinet. So I have to, like, this is the etiquette of being a clarinet player. And we take this serious. We're in a band. We're a team. But in your mind, you're like, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And, like even at that age, you're able to find the comedic, like, this is horseshit. What are we doing?
I think what really, and I figured this out probably a few years ago, and I think this definitely stemmed or ignited the whole just comedy train for me was, you know, when I was fourth and going to fifth grade. Fifth grade was probably the peak of my fat kidness, which quick fat is what I like to say.
He tries to do fat jokes on stage and nobody ever buys it.
Oh yeah, well then you saw like a picture of me and Kendall Gill though, and you're like, okay, that's the that is the picture.
Way. Yeah.
Well,
I don't think you're lying. I think the crowd's just like, we can't
for sure.
verify this.
But then it's like, all right, well, let's get him really high and put him in a Costco for like 24 hours and see what he comes up with. Oh, did he put that Pop-Tart inside of the muffin? All right, yeah, he's a fat kid. Yeah, and so, you know, I was always like to make jokes and laugh with my buddies, but then you know, getting teased so much and then even by these kids that were, you know, supposedly my buddies in Cub Scouts and basketball. And then I remember like one particular night when I was hanging out with a bunch of them, and even some of them started like to make fun of me, and it was such an awful feeling. And I was like, oh man, this sucks. And then, you know, I started like doing these prank calls to all the Seattle sports radio stations. I've always taped, so I'd stay up late night and tape them on my first Sony and prank call. I'd call like, you know, KGR probably 6 times in a row, and I'd call
He's
being
probably
like,
heard you.
Probably. For sure.
Yeah.
Dude, I played one of them on when I went on
So
Bob Graz
fun.
and Tom recently, and I told Graz, I was like, dude, I used to prank call you all the time. And he was like, is that why the show got canceled? I'm like, probably, dude, because you took a call from a supposed 9-year-old who said we should trade Griffey for some hot dogs and the Phillies mascot. And he was like, you son of a bitch. And so I would do that just like, you know, and then I'd bring him on the bus and start do that. And then I started to like impersonate teachers and friends. And then it was like starting to open up outside of like just my circle of friends, and people started to see me as a funny kid and not the fat kid. And then I was like, all right, this also
that makes tons of sense.
And then also kids that I weren't necessarily friends with were just like, oh shit, man, you're hilarious. They want to be around me. And you know, at that age, even so, you just wanted to be accepted to everything. Sure. So I'm not thinking of like, you know, I didn't see past that they were also teasing me previously, but I was like, oh yeah, cool. If I get to go to that birthday party now and have fun like that I wasn't doing. And then
being the heavy kid made you like not vain or not made you like arrogant or. I
was like, I just want to do the fun stuff. I would say, I did this joke about this once. I go, but then I got a handful of ooze, so I just cut it out. But I would go, I was such a happy-go-lucky kid. I go, fat kids only know they're fat until they get signs or messages from the outside world or some sort of direct. You know, like I go, it was very subtle. Like my friend's, you know, dad, if I'm, you know, in his kitchen, like, you know, rummaging through his dip bars and chips and salsa, and he's like, hey, slow down, man. You know, you're trying to set a world record for most handy snacks eaten in 15 minutes. And then, you know, or say things like, hey, man, when you're done pounding that graham cracker crust, you got time for a titty fuck? I go, so that gave me an indication that probably it's time to shed some LBs or get on a treadmill. But people would go.
I like a dad of one of your friends, like belittling or like heckling you, and you're in the lower drawer of the freezer, like just like stuff on your face. Like, huh?
Dude, one of my friend's moms tells me to this day, she's like,
the world record, just hungry. Adam hungry. Just
are you speaking
him.
it? Yeah. But so then it was just like getting that, it was really just that feeling of, you know, it just felt good to make people laugh.
Yeah.
And then, you know, again,
you're
you're
doing
doing
it a negative identity labeled for a positive identity. Yeah.
And then it just was writing that out. And then it was like, and then you just, you know, as you get older, you start to recognize, you're like, oh, not everybody is like this. Right. So maybe this isn't just something fun I do. Maybe, and then that, you know, once people start to kind of recognize about you, then it makes you even more curious about just comedy in general. So I'm like watching and listening to stuff that just because now I'm like getting into comedy and wanting to know all about it. And then you get to a point where you're like, all right, maybe this can be a career. But yeah, the wanting to make any moment like just more fun. I mean, it's the same thing with you where you're just like, I don't see what's the point of doing anything if you're not trying to find the fun in anything.
Yeah.
Even like, I don't know. It's just, and maybe getting some perspective from like, you know, seeing, certain things growing up. And again, like having that negativity in my household so young that I was just like, all right, I have a choice. I can either like let that really drag me down, or I can do the flip
Absolutely.
side.
I had a girl just today. I was driving my motorcycle with a sidecar on it, the Ural, and this girl, I've never had this question. She goes, "Why do you have that?" And I was like, "It's fun."
Yeah.
Like I didn't know how to answer. Like in her mind, she's thinking like, "No, just get a practical car where you don't have to like, whatever." But in my mind, I thought she was ridiculous, and she's looking at me thinking this guy's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's the two kind of people like in the world.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you like. I just always, I don't know. I love being around. Every time I'm around you, I feel like just all these crazy things happen. Like we laugh so much.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, it's like, you got to be glass half full, like approach to a lot of stuff. And I feel like if you're going in like good shit's going to happen when you're at least just putting yourself in a mindset of like, accepting what's around you and not going in with like, oh, this could be bad, or I don't know about this, or even, Shipman, when I was at USC and I was going to, it was like my sophomore or junior year, and I was going to move into the fraternity that I was in, and it was going to be a lot of fun, and living in the house, and the football team was really good, but then I had a chance to audition to go study abroad in London and do that program, and I was like, oh man, I'm going to miss out on such a good time. But I was like, my mom was like, we should at least audition, give yourself the opportunity. And I had such negative like feelings about it because I was like, I don't want to be away, and then I'm like gonna miss home and girlfriend, all that stuff. And I at least like went out for it, and at least and didn't audition with like a bad mindset of like, all right, I don't even want to do this, so I'm not going to try. I was like, all right, if I'm going to go for it, I got to at least do it. And I got in and did it, and it was like probably the best experience of college. And it's like, and so I learned from that as being like, all right, you got to always say yes. And I think that's what's great about stand-up too. There's so many correlations with like, how many times you hit the stage and you're like, I got this idea for a bit, or even something in the moment or moments prior,
Dude,
and you're like,
so creatively.
I'll try it another time. And it's like, dude, when you push through and like whether you sink or swim, you're getting better in that moment.
Or like one new bit, and the next day you're like, everything is magic.
Yeah.
All these ideas are funny.
Yeah.
And like you just
Yeah.
And then there's sometimes where I'm grumpy and I'm like, oh, it's because I haven't done a new bit in like 4 weeks.
Yep.
And I'm just doing the same it's like that's why I'm getting a little like burnt out, is because I'm not creating.
Yes.
I'm just living in this act
Yep.
like of whatever.
But also, you do a good job of this too, and I think another similarity between us, where it's like we're always trying to live a life worth writing about, which they say is like what you got to do. I mean, the amount of things that you and I both like will go.
Want to go do
out of
fun
our ways.
stuff, like write fun about the fun stuff.
Oh yeah, like even just going to. When I was at Buffalo at the Helium Club, and then I flew to Arizona, and then I was like, I want to go to the Hawks game on Sunday, and then go to the Goo Goo Dolls show and do a set, and I was like, God, that's gonna. And then I got to fly back and go right to this dance rehearsal for this show, and I was like, that just sounds like so much. But then I was like, I can fucking just find the pockets to sleep a little. And like, don't get so fucked up on Sunday that you're a mess Monday. Like,
this won't be the most likable moment for me on the podcast or anything I've ever done. Do you ever just scroll through your Instagram and go, dude, I'm living the greatest life ever? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, think about, like,
dude, we're
you just
very
go, oh my
fortunate.
gosh, I am hanging out with these people.
But also,
and
you
I'm
create
going
your
to
own
these-
good luck,
right?
And you got to and you also, again, like you have to be not a piece of shit, and be, and then have that, the networking part of it, but then being in a position to where then when you go out of your way to put yourself in other spots that you're like, oh, it's easy to go home and not do that. Well, then you just missed out on maybe 2 other things after that happening.
Absolutely. But it's like you just said, like you even thought about your week. Like in 1 week, you're going to like a Seahawks game on the road.
Yeah.
You're seeing the Goo Goo Dolls.
Yeah.
You're
I was at Niagara
performing
Falls
in
the
front
day
of
before.
thousands of people.
Yeah.
Niagara Falls. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just go, you're doing all this fun stuff, and you're like looking. I think I look back at like a poor young Jeff and go, you had no idea all this was happening by fucking off in Miss Noreen's class. Like you had no idea. Like you were setting the stage for like the greatest life ever. Yeah. It's fascinating. But you were in theater in high school, right?
Yeah.
And you did all that stuff.
Yeah.
Musicals.
Yeah. I quit football my sophomore year in high school to play Danny Zuko in Greece. And
Which is way better. I mean, at the time, football was better in my opinion. But
guess what, dude? The girls that
you're
I
never
got
gonna be
from
an
that
NFL
play
player.
were way better.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I was never going to be in the NFL. NFL.
I think not enough people hear that.
What?
Like being an athlete in school is very great and very positive. Teamwork, you learn a lot of good
basketball,
things.
look, if
but
I was
there's
taller,
not a huge future for any of them.
Yeah, I know. You have to, it's do it for the fun aspect and the camaraderie and like it's also high school sports can be so fun if you're like with a good group and you're actually like not terrible, but But then for football too, it was just not as fun as basketball. And I was doing it because, again, I was like, oh yeah, I did this. I've done it for a little bit, and I'm not terrible. But then I was like, oh, I'm not gonna. It's like, well, the plays, even that I didn't feel like it was gonna be a career path, but it just seemed more fun. And those plays, the high school theater where I went, Shorecrest, was such a big deal in the community, and we'd gone to plays for field trips growing up. So now it was like, oh man, to be in one of those would be really awesome. And I was like, I'm not going to.
Football players from my school, they were like celebrities in school to us. We're like, he's the starting running back. Oh, he's the quarterback. And you think how important and cool they were. But then, give it some perspective. They're like selling cars now, or they're like,
I ran into one after a show at the Parlor. This was the saddest, most like real shit ever. He goes, I'm not going to say his name, David Knapp, but I get off stage and he's out there with his wife and he just is so drunk. And this is what's really cool though, too, is that like, and again, you and I both just being very affable and warm to anybody. Like if you went to high school with them and you kind of remember them, but you never had class and they come to a show, it's like, dude, awesome. That's cool.
I was nice to the dudes that were mean to me. I'm like, hey, come here, man. Hey, good to see you, dude. It's good. Like they came around. You know?
Yeah.
Because even when they were bullying me, I was like, I wish this guy was my friend.
Yeah, get a hug from JD. Turn your day around. But so this guy comes up to me and he just goes, he's so drunk. He's like, I'm fucking Ray. And I go, oh, Dave. And he goes, dude, puts his arm around me in like a chokehold. Like, I'm like, dude, we never even touched at all. Like, you're already overstepping all the boundaries, And he goes, I'm so fucking proud of you, man. And he goes, I'm so fucking proud of you, dude. You fucking, God, look at you fucking
Couldn't believe it,
man. You fucking did it, dude. And I'm like, and his wife standing in the corner, she's like, hi, good job. He said he went to high school with you guys. We're classmates. You played football together. I go, yeah, no, he was a senior and I was a freshman. He was like, dude, he goes, you're fucking doing it, man. He goes, you look up there, I'm watching you.
Look what I have to have sex with. Look what I'm.
It wasn't too far from that. He goes, I got my fucking wife over here. And I go, she's literally also in the circle of that in our conversation. So she heard you say that. And he's like, you fucking shit.
I know, Adam.
Yeah, I know. He's drunk. This is his night to have fun. So
I'm not that fuckable. Yeah. Fine. Like she's even admitting.
He cheats on me. It's an agreement we have. Well, it's his agreement. I go along with it.
I have no other place to live.
Yeah. And so then he goes, I go, well, you're doing your thing, Dave. He goes, dude, my thing. He goes, I fucking work at Costco. I go, Costco's killing it. Just, wanting to again.
Yeah.
I go, dude,
nothing wrong with that.
I go, unlimited samples, I'm assuming. And then he goes, yeah, dude, you get all of them. He goes, but get off. Yeah. And then he's like, but dude, he goes, I ain't what I want to fucking do. He goes, you think I'll walk in there being like, oh, fuck yeah, I work at fucking Costco. I go, I don't know. Do you? He's like, no, man, it's fucking Costco. And I'm like, again, like there's worse places you could work or not work. And he's like, yeah, all right. You probably put this in your act. Probably not. None of this conversation so far has been stage worthy, But then he was like, it ended really like, sweet. Again, and I wasn't, trying to step away or be weird. And there's a security guy was just, is he all right? And I was like, yeah, man. Like, I understand the sentiment and I think it is real and authentic. But it's like those things too. You go, dang, I'm so glad that because hey man, that's this business. There are the ups and downs never stop. The challenges and the feelings of I'm not doing enough or whatever never go away. You just have to like get to a place to where you feel like you're filling the creative void and also living a life and taking the time to like put in all the work, but then and I don't want to just say work hard, play hard, but like in that moment when he was saying all that, I was like, oh man, I had like this moment. I was like, I have done a lot of shit to get to this point. Because you get
oh man,
you get so caught up in it that you're just like, and expect so much of yourself that, to look in the rearview mirror, I feel like, at least from me, I don't do enough. But then in those moments, you go,
should, man, because you've crushed it, crushed it, and not just now. I felt like even going to like your home where you grew up in, I was like looking and I was like even starstruck by that. Like your mom had like clippings of like you in the play that was like in the newspaper and stuff. And I remember thinking like, nah, dude, he was doing this, the whole time. You were getting on, like in high school, I was the funniest kid in my high school.
Which, by the way, that's putting in the time too, though.
It was, but it was the confidence to go like, no, I'm the star of this play. I'm the lead of this play. Like I've got to bring it. And then you're still doing that all the time. I'm very proud of you as well, even though, I've been with you for a lot of the journey or whatever, but all of it. Like, so when I first came here to LA, I stayed at your place for about like 10, 15 days while
Yeah.
my apartment was getting ready. They
Yeah.
said my apartment was ready. I come down, it's not, and I crashed on his couch.
Yeah.
And
So much ping pong.
we play so much ping pong.
Which,
Also, you
the
introduced me
greatest
to
days.
Curb Enthusiasm.
Oh, yeah.
I'd never heard of it or
Yeah.
watched it.
Yeah.
We watched a bunch. We smoked. We drank. We
Yeah.
had a good time.
It was the best.
And then now, like you've been on your favorite show. You were on Curb, and I go, this
Yeah.
is incredible. Like,
Yeah. It's
that's
crazy.
the story.
Yeah.
Like how insane, like you were on the set of your favorite show.
Yeah.
You're working with the lead of your
Yeah,
favorite
watching
show.
it, I almost didn't want to watch it because I was like, I'm probably gonna have like a stroke or something. Because it literally, even in the audition, it was one scene as an Uber driver, and I was in front of Larry, and he's behind me, like in a car setup, and even just hearing him talk, I immediately, because I literally watched the show almost. There was a time, it was every night. It was like on my laptop, I fall asleep to it. It was just like something
yeah.
that and I could rewatch every episode. So he's talking behind me, and all of a sudden I just feel like I'm in an episode, and it was a definite like outer body. But then I just like locked in and like made him laugh a bunch, and then we did it again, and it was like, and then I went back, and they wanted me to do it with an unidentifiable like Eastern European accent, so did that, and that went great, and they ended up the guy who got that one ended up having like the bulk of the story in the episode, but yeah, I mean it was, and he's, I mean. Yeah, but everything you do up to a certain point, I think I was definitely nervous when I went in, but then it was like,
no, I feel like I picture you driving home just being like,
oh, I felt like I called my mom immediately after because I just, I try to share stuff like that with her because she just like, lives vicariously and she, it's so funny when she, my grandpa always told her, didn't discourage her from doing the entertainment business, but was like, are you going to be able to support yourself? And kind of threw
Yes.
that. So she was like, all right, I guess I'll go into social
I
work
hate.
and struggle,
I hate worry. And I feel like the Jewish community is guilty of this a lot of the time.
And that's a very old school. My grandpa, coming from the 30s and 40s, just like, you're going to be able to
Right, but
support
our
you and a
brains are
family.
designed to like protect us.
Yeah.
So we call it smart. Like it is preparing. Like, oh, do you have enough money? Do you have enough food? Don't do this because it hurts. But like at a certain point for success or fitness or any of those things, you have to shut your brain off and say, no.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt because that's how you lose weight.
Yeah.
That's how you build muscle. Or, like you have to take the risk to get the thing.
Yeah.
And so it's like the most safe people sit around thinking they're smart, but they're not getting any of the
It's the whole thing. It's like people are like, well, don't listen to your heart. Like you got to listen to your head over your heart. It's like, well, how many times is your head fucking wrong?
all the time.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
why is that good advice?
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Your head's not right.
Yeah, it's your heart is often wrong.
By the way, there's
but
so
it's
many-
always the most fun, passionate, joyous, and then your brain is often wrong, and
the
so
way-
it just keeps you safe and fat, and it's not worth it.
Yeah. I love that you just are calling attention to that saying being fucked up, because literally I was talking to my niece the other day. She was getting bullied, and I just go, you know what though, Brookie? I go, sticks and stones can break your bones, but words will never hurt you. And she goes, but those words really hurt. And I go, fucking, you're 9. Like, what a great. I go, all right, yeah, it's a bullshit saying. I
Yeah,
go,
it's stupid. All
I
these
would
sayings
actually
are
rather you have the beating
stupid.
with sticks and stones, because those were harsh
I have
words.
a bit that I haven't done on stage in a long time, but I used to have a bit where I was like, my dad taught me that because they would call me those names because I had a lot of like learning stuff, So when they found out I couldn't read or something, they would bully me, and that's why I think I try to be funny.
Yeah.
Whatever. But I remember my dad taught me sticks and stones may break your bones, but names, and I was like, "Ooh, did you write that?" I was like, "Yeah, that's fire, Dad."
Dude, William
But so
Shakespeare,
the next
man.
day I come to school and I say it to the kids, and that just made them want to hit me with sticks and stones. I was like, no, let's go back to names.
You give them ideas for weapons.
Fair enough.
Let's go back to names. Names didn't have me in the office with a bloody nose. This is worse.
But I want to. My grandpa was saying that to my mom, and her just being so supportive about everything was so essential. And then she got when she married my stepdad and was able to like scale back, not work fucking 4 jobs. And my stepdad was so like giving as far as being like, I don't know you always want to do like plays and move whatever. He's like, take classes, go do these weekend workshops, whatever. And then she got in these productions of the Vagina Monologues in like community theaters in Seattle.
your mom did.
Yeah,
It's great.
And she ended up doing, and she was great, and like fucking. I mean, I go see her doing it, and she's doing this one where it's about your fucking like my vagina is flooding with pussy, whatever. I'm
my
paraphrasing.
gosh, you watched your
I'm
dad or your
paraphrasing.
mom do that.
No, I'm watching my mom do it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You got to witness your mom.
And she was great, but then like, and then she, around the Washington State community theater, like more and more of these productions started popping up, and my mom would do them, and then all of a sudden she stopped. She had like 7 of them, and then she stopped, and then she called me, she goes, so I got a call from the Everett Community Theater. They want me to come back and vagina it. And I go, is that a saying? She's like, no, they want me back in the show. I go, Mom, I thought you retired. She goes, I might go back. I go, you're like the Brett Favre of vagina monologues.
Yeah.
And she,
Wait, why would she retire anyways?
Just from that show. She goes,
Oh,
I think
I see.
I've done it enough. She goes, how many times can I talk about my vagina? I
Yeah,
go,
man.
we can have this conversation
I
over
don't know.
Facebook. This is not something I need to hear you talk about.
Look at any female comedian ever. Turns out never. You don't ever have to.
Yeah.
In the same way, men never stop talking about their dick.
Yeah.
Like, there's no ending.
It's
for
too
that.
much of a common ground.
We're all gonna talk about it.
I almost thought about doing like the amount of dick jokes I've written. I was like, I wonder if I did a straight special, obviously
1
down
hour.
the line, just called dick jokes, where it was
No,
like,
Adam Ray, dicks. No dick jokes. Just like they know you're a comedian.
oh, the poster art. Yeah.
And people
for
will be
sure.
like, what?
Yeah.
What is
You're
this?
gonna click
Why
on that.
is it?
Yeah.
And then just that's it. Just dicks.
I'm intrigued.
I want to know what this is. Dick jokes. I'm like, I've heard them.
Yeah.
Some people call them hack.
Yeah.
But dicks, you're like, wait, is there going to be dicks in this? What's funny is I used to, when I first moved to LA, I was like, it was just all easy dick jokes. Because you hear that and then you repeat it. One of your heroes will say, it's all dick jokes or something. And then that makes you go, oh, we're not supposed to like dick jokes. I'll make fun of dick jokes.
Right.
And then Adam Sandler's movies are all about like dicks and balls and stuff. And then I was like, he might be onto something.
Yeah.
All the elitists are saying like they don't. Turns out these movies are wildly popular
Billions
with all
of
the dick
dollars.
stuff in it.
Yeah. People want it. Dude, at some point, like Hillary Clinton, Oprah, like, they're not, I would like to think they're not above like a good dick joke. Or even, I said this on stage in Buffalo, it was so stupid. And like this one black dude in the quarter he goes, I go, dude, farts are, I was doing a joke about my mom farting and whatever, getting older and not having any butt control and just not realizing it and how sad it is because I'm not going to call her out for him. I'm like, she's my mom. She's been my lunch for 18 plus years. The least I can do is like, take a couple to the face and just like not say anything, be supportive, and she'll just, and be like, did you say something? I'm like, no, mom, but your asshole wanted to chime in on this conversation. You couldn't feel anything with the smell you just produced.
Yeah,
And
no,
then
I wasn't saying something. Your rectum was.
And then I go, you know what? Everyone, I go, and then I go, that's so stupid. I go, but you know what? I go, we all fart. I go, dude, somewhere before an award show, Oprah has gotten out of the car and just lifted her leg a little bit. I go, it's what brings us all together. And then there's just this pause, and this one black dude just goes, that's some deep shit. And then I start just dying. I go, oh man, I did kind
Like
of
you were
like.
motivational, like bringing everyone together. Yo, he right? I fart, Oprah fart.
Oprah farts. She's just like us, man. The stars are just like us. You got my vote. Yeah.
I love that he thought that was
Yeah,
deep.
yeah.
I don't know.
There was a time. This reminded me of a story when Quick Fat was playing. We were playing this all black team from Linwood, Washington. It was the first time. Look, there were black players in our like league, but like not a predominantly like a team from Roosevelt or the Garfield area in Washington, and we got matched up in this tournament, and they were fucking so dope. And in
And
warm-ups-
just, you're getting dunked on the whole
and
time.
it's not even like obviously we had black kids at our school, so it wasn't like, so it was just an all black team that we never played before in any of these, in sixth grade. And so we're all like, God, they're so like, look at them in the warm-ups, they're fucking killing it.
They look like men.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, again, Quick Fat just stepped it up. I must have had like fucking 32 points, 14 rebounds. And I, like, with like 4 seconds left, coach's son gives me a ball. I do this weird, I would shoot the three all the time because, like, Larry Bird and Reggie Miller are my favorite players. And then again,
Detlef Schrempf.
and Detlef Schrempf and fucking Dale Ellis, like the OG Sonics, Dana Barros. And so, but then I would play the post because I was like the tallest kid in school even, and Quick Fat, you couldn't like D me up in the post.
Yeah.
So I had so I did this like crazy sky hook with like 6 seconds left to put us up by 6. And I'm running down the court, jiggling up and out. The ice cream's in my future for sure. And I'm running down the court and I just hear one of the dads of the other team, after I hit that, I'm running down just being like, I think we're going to win it. And the dad at the top of his lungs just goes, man, that fat motherfucker's killing us. And like all the parents start laughing, and I was like, I looked over the sidelines, and like I just see like dads hitting each other, being like, that shit was funny. And he was looking at me, and he was like, you fucking killing it. And I was like, I think he's talking about me.
I think he's being supportive.
I think it's a compliment somehow.
But it's hurting my heart.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was incredible. There's probably that tape I know is somewhere in a box in my home.
That's got to be found.
And I would be hard pressed to imagine that you can't not hear that audio on the tape,
yeah.
because I remember seeing that clip of it of me running down court. Yeah, and like
Just
hopefully my dad or whoever like panned to that guy.
Half of it's nice and the other half is not nice.
You just see the camera shake as my dad's laughing.
He's killing him, man.
Yeah.
Wait, so that's another thing. I totally spaced on this and all the things I thought that we would talk about. Tony, watching Adam Ray play basketball is phenomenal. One, you're great.
Thanks.
Two, so aggressive. Like so much more aggressive than you'd think.
Yeah.
It's like Barkley out there.
It's aggressive.
My favorite player, so
It's
for sure.
so aggressive.
Yeah.
And then
But not dirty, just physical.
No, it isn't
like
dirty.
I
Throw the
love it
bows.
back. Like
Throw
I'm
the
like,
bows.
but the pushing and shoving and like in the post and like
He's a good sport. Like you can push him back. he's
push
not
me
gonna-
back because
yeah.
I'm like, dude, that's good hard play. But
Yeah,
like
yeah,
if you're
yeah.
just throwing it before you and I have developed that we're gonna have this type of a matchup, then dude, now I might trip you on the way down. You know.
Dude, Adam is so good. And the third thing, he takes zero shit from any referee, no matter how, like it's these refs.
Remember the wheelchair ref I yelled at? I got teed up. I didn't say anything about like obviously his situation, but just the fact I remember Jeff being like, dude, you're getting teed up by like you're screaming at a guy in a wheelchair.
Adam's
none of
leaning
this
over
matters.
him because he's like leaning, like the guy's
I
sitting
think I
like
put my hands on his
and he's
chair, like
leaning
resting.
over.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, how you have to? I'm just like, this is incredible.
yeah.
It was like a
Yeah.
visual thing I'll never forget.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't care less, and I'm not good enough to like
You're-
really take
no,
it serious.
dude, you were, I mean, an essential part of that team.
We're
Dude.
just tall, whatever.
Yeah, but coordinated.
Yeah.
You can't be, look at Ari Shaffir, tall, like decently coordinated,
Yeah.
but like you actually had moves in the post and could finish. And we're like, when
Well,
you
thank
would
you.
give you the ball, you're like, all right, great. We're going to have some low post presence.
When I also would always say, like, I think one thing that makes me popular when we play basketball is that just tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Yeah.
There's no like ego, like there's like, especially like I have ego in things, like in writing or whatever.
Yes.
But like when it comes to the court, I'm like, no, you want me to pass every time? I got you.
yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
just tell me where to be. Tell me when you want me to shoot it. And so that was
Just
fun.
throwing screens and
Yeah,
just
whatever you
doing your
need.
job.
Amazing.
Tell me what to do.
Yeah, it was great.
That team was so fun. The only regret is that we called it Sean Kemp's Kids.
I know.
Yeah, that's a
Such
bummer.
yeah.
Because I love Sean Kemp.
Me too.
And I do feel like I would be one of his kids. Like
Even
I
I
would
knew about that just from like following you on social
Yeah.
media, and I was like, ooh.
I know.
It didn't feel
because
good.
as a guy who fucking loves Sean Kemp,
Yeah. I don't care what he does in his personal life.
Yes. And
He
so
gave
I
me
was
so
like,
much childhood, great times.
Yeah.
Yeah. It felt like a name you would see like on a fantasy football team and roll
Right.
your eyes.
By
Like,
a
oh, that
non-comedian,
joke.
you're like, oh,
Yeah.
like what an easy thing to.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know who came up with it, but the team was legendary.
Thank God that I had my buddy come tape. Remember, like I should re-pull that up. Remember,
Oh,
I
I
sent
don't-
it to you guys.
I don't
had a
remember.
buddy come tape one of
Oh,
our
that's
games, and then I had him
interesting.
cut a highlight reel. I'll pull it back up and,
Oh, yeah,
and I
we
put it on
should
YouTube
find
and
that.
send
That's
to you guys.
amazing. Yeah.
And he just did like and then I go, dude, throw a little music behind this and make a little like highlight reel of the game. And it's
I'm trying to think who our guy. So
wait.
Brandon.
Brandon Coiner, who
Who's so good.
and co-wrote with Tyler Spindell, Father of the Year, the Netflix
great.
movie with David Spade and Nat Faxon.
And then
Brandon's-
you're blown up. And then
Moo was
fucking
amazing.
Ari's blown
Ari,
up.
Santino joined the last 2
Santino's
years.
blown up. Like
Yeah.
he's on thing.
God, who else? Paul Morrissey was incredible.
I just saw him today, which is strange. For the
real?
first time in ages.
he's still doing stand-up, right?
Yeah, he has a podcast with Tom
Awesome.
Papa and all that
nice.
sort of stuff. Yeah. But I
He's
saw him right
so
when I was going
great.
into yoga, and he goes, "Hey, you're late." And I was like, "To yoga? No, I'm on time
Yeah,
for sure."
yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
He thought I was going to like watch his show or something, which I thought was weird. Or maybe he was just
Watch his
joking
po-
that
oh,
I was
yeah,
late
maybe
or
it
something.
was,
But in my
yeah.
mind, I couldn't put it together. I was like, I know you're not going where I'm going,
Yeah.
and I'm not going where you're going. So what do you mean I'm late?
Yeah.
Like, it was very weird to say to
yeah.
someone you haven't seen in like a year.
yeah.
Hey, you're late, man. Like, yeah, well, all right. Whatever you tell me. But he was a guy, you and him would give the refs a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Paul
and then
was-
Paul and I would get into it.
Oh,
because,
really?
Oh, yeah. Because he was, I just had a problem with like anybody on the team that was like, look, if somebody got a hot hand, like I remember there was a game when Mook got a hot hand and I just pulled him aside. I was like, dude, just find your spot and
Yeah.
we'll all get you the ball
Keep
because
firing.
you're lighting it up.
Yeah.
But then Paul was incredible, man. And so crafty and way quicker than you would imagine. And
To give our listeners and Tony some
Yeah.
insight on Paul Morrissey, great comedian, funny guy, writes
Yep.
for Gaffigan. He was the Steph Curry
He played
of
D3.
his life because his dad was a coach for a big college university. And so he would just sit in the gym and shoot. And so he would just stay in one spot. He
Yeah.
would just bury like tons in a row, which I think is the story of Steph Curry, right? Like that his
Yeah.
dad was a player. And so he would just be in the gyms and just shoot by himself. So Paul, short and all this different stuff, he would just bury threes, just bury. And so now, like if you give him a ball and just put him at a gym, he can stand in one spot. If you take the
Yeah.
running out, you
Yeah.
take all
Yeah.
the strategy or the team play, he could make 40, 50 in a row, I think. It was insane. But he's also like super smug
Yeah.
on the court. Like he's like, nah, like, because one bad thing, and this is something that I was trying to tell to you back then too, is like when you play at this crappy of a level, like, you know, the refs are going to be a crappy level.
Yeah.
Your teammates in competition is going to be a crappy level. So like guys like, I'm trying to think of some of the best players that were in that league. They should have been playing at a higher level, including yourself.
I mean-
so like everyone's just going, yeah, man, hey, we suck. I'm
Tailor
a
your
shit ref. I'm
expectations,
making $20 tonight. Like I don't know the.
Yeah, they didn't care. That's
Yeah.
why they were like so quick to tee me up, and I would just talk shit. And I would like, I remember when I would do some sort of drop step pivot, like the Sean Kemp move. You remember like he used to, it was so fitting you're wearing the jersey, and we're going to the game on Friday.
Yeah.
Right?
I can't now. I'm going to Spokane, but I might drive. Wait, what time's the game?
No, 7:30. Don't worry about it. It'll be on ESPN, and we'll go. We'll get a team soon.
I'm sorry.
And we'll go to another game.
Eventually, if they ever get a team, we've said that before years ago.
They will. Once this
I'm
hockey
saying
thing
if they ever get a
happens.
team, we're going to opening.
Oh
Like,
yeah, we should almost
100%.
split season tickets
I'm
and
good.
like yeah,
just to have them.
yes. Oh boy.
Sean Kemp move.
Oh yeah, so he would do this move where he would be on the baseline and he would like lean back and then spin around defenders, you know, and he had such a quick spin and then dunk on people. So I would like try to do that in the post. And I did it all the time as quick fat. So I was like, all right, I think this is going to translate 20 years later. And I would do it. And the refs would always call me for traveling. And my whole thing, I would be like, dude, I'm not as fast as you think I am. Like I'm doing, it's a legit pivot, but you're just seeing me and being like, how is that guy moving that quick? So you're thrown off by it. I was like, it's not a travel. And then they would be
it's
like,
an illusion.
keep talking, man. Keep talking, 33.
man.
I was like, well, you keep reffing the way you are. And this is going to be a shitty game for all of us. And they're
Absolutely.
like, I'm fucking T. I'm in a wheelchair. Oh,
So
fuck
one,
off,
one of
you
my
know?
favorite Siddiqui Fuller moments ever. I love Siddiqui.
Rest in peace.
Shout out to Siddiqui. One of my favorite moments is we had a game where it was us versus their team.
Yeah.
And we're all listening to the rules. It was one of the first games in the league. And the ref said something and I made a joke and everyone laughed. And then the ref looked at me and then he goes, all right, so this is going to be how it's going to go. And then I made another joke, just making fun of what he was saying. And then everyone laughed. He goes, hey, man, quit screwing around. I'm trying to tell everyone the rule. And Siddiqui, without even knowing me very well, goes, hey, no, he's not wrong. This is a comedy league. You that's Jeff's just doing what Jeff does. We're all just doing. And I remember
awesome.
being like, I love this dude.
Yeah.
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 Like, this is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
This isn't an NBA game.
I know.
Yeah. Like,
I wonder if those refs too were, you know, had aspirations to be. No, it's just a side gig, right? They're
I don't
not-
know.
My first year at college, I worked when I was in UNLV in Las Vegas. I worked intramurals and refereed, and it was it was hilarious. I,
Oh, you liked it?
I loved it because
Yeah.
all these frats and stuff, like
Yeah.
playing flag football, like they think they're fucking
Athletes,
Odell Beckham
yeah.
out there, and like I would just throw flat, like don't swear at me because
Right.
I will happily. I would throw my flag
Oh, yeah.
so high in the
Oh,
air if
wow.
anyone would swear at me. Yeah, I'd love it. Tee people up on the
I was
basketball
always-
court. I don't
Dude, I
give a
got kicked
fuck.
out of a
I
kickball
was
league game.
fascinated that they didn't want to be our pals.
Yeah.
Like you'd think
We're the same
we're in
age
a league with
almost.
like Dane Cook
Yeah.
and like all these other like
Yeah, be cool
almost
to us.
virtually almost everyone
It probably
in that
started
league,
that way.
It was pretty successful.
Yeah.
Or going to be or was before
Dude, Sarah
and not
Silverman
as
was
much
playing.
now. Yeah.
Adam Devine was playing a little bit.
Why
Guess
would
what?
they not want to be cool to us?
might
Free
just
tickets
be-
for life to every show if you're a cool ref.
Absolutely.
It might have started that way, but then just after one game of just getting berated by these people, they're like, oh, okay.
Maybe that ref in the
Maybe
wheelchair
not.
wasn't even in a
'Cause we were
wheelchair,
nice.
and he took so
We're,
much
like,
berating.
friendly. Yeah,
he's
that's
just
what
like,
happened.
maybe I'll just get a chair. They'll lighten up on me, and he's like, no, this fucking 33 will just lay in no
know.
matter what
Never
seat
gonna happen.
No
situation I'm
mercy.
in.
No mercy.
I got kicked out of a kickball league. Did you ever play in the Waka kickball league?
No, but I do great at kickball.
You would, dude. They have them. It was Burbank, Culver City, Hollywood. It's co-ed. I did it the year after I graduated, and it was a bunch of kids from college. And the girls would bring Jello shots, and you hang
Nice.
and drink, and you play 2 games back
what
to
day
back.
of the week was it?
Mondays.
Mondays
Monday
at
nights.
night. Oh, that
yeah,
sounds
like
great.
6, 7 p.m. And we played at Poinsettia Park a lot, right across the street from where I used to live. That
Which
park where
means I've seen these people.
where we did the taco sketch from way back in the day. Remember? And
Which means I've seen these people. When I say these people, I mean kickball people. Because they would always go to happy endings, right?
yes,
Yeah.
that was like
so
the home base
you
bar.
would always see like all these
All
people.
the same T-shirts.
12 purple people in
Yeah.
shirts and then 12 green shirted people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that makes sense.
And so I, the players from the teams would stay and ref or ump other games. And so I'm playing first base coach, and one of the girls on our team gets a kick, and she, was always struggling to get hits, and she gets one through, and she's running down the line, and I'm cheering on, like, come on. And then she gets, and I just in a trying to support her, she hits the bag at the same time, and I go, safe, as he kind of called, and then he's like, yeah, it's safe. And he looks at me, he goes, hey man, don't make the call for me. And I just go, hey man, I was just trying to cheer her on. I was saying safe in like, it's like if you're watching a game on TV, you're like screaming out that they're safe because you're talking out loud because this is sports, and sometimes you cheer verbally, Again, I'm saying all this fucking same shit as the customer service booth. I'm like, hey man, I'm not doing your job. Lighten up.
Reason goes so much higher than what would be best.
Also,
interest.
just immediately the idea of a kickball ump like starting to just berate me over anything, and it's fucking 8:30. I was like, dude, you and I both had Jello shots about 45 minutes ago. What's happening right now is not changing the world. Like what, And so then he goes, don't do my job. I go, yeah, man, I'm just cheering her on. He goes, easy, man. And it just put the clamps on it before nothing was escalating, but him, sometimes when someone's like, relax, and you're like,
oh yeah,
you're the one
getting mad. Tony does that.
Yeah, I do that.
It's a great tactic.
Drives me nuts.
It's a great tactic.
But he's like, you're the one getting carried away. I was like, no, I'm not. And now I am getting carried away because he's
pushing your buttons. So he goes, easy, man. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, say one more thing. So he jumps so high.
Just say one more thing.
Just say one more thing. And I just go, all right. And then he just goes, you're out of here. And I go, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And then he goes, oh, you're out of here again. I go, you can't double kick me out. And then I just start walking. He goes, get out of here. And so everyone on first base, everyone's over at the third base side. And I just go, so now what? He goes, get out of here, man. I go, I mean, the game's not over. He goes, well, you're out of the game.
My ride is playing third base. And all the people in the dugout are going, what's double kicked out? How is he double kicked out?
Yeah. This is unprecedented. So I start walking over, and my whole side's just laughing. Just they're like, Adam, what happened? I go, dude, I said safe, and then like Stephanie, like I was trying to say, and then he said say one more thing, and then I just like made a good Tim Allen two-time grunt, and then maybe he hates that show, maybe he thought Patricia Richardson was a star, and Tim Allen got too much screen time, and so then I was like, all right, and I walked, and then I just sat there, and it was like so demoralizing,
Yeah, for sure.
Like I definitely, and
as a grown man being treated like a kid, that's really what it feels like.
Oh yeah. Also, you're just like, oh God, I got kicked out. Like I definitely got home, and then people make jokes about it the next game, and you're like, yeah, all right, man. Like that was actually a rough night for me, And you get back because I definitely looked at myself in the mirror, being like, all right, like what is this who I am right now?
What inning was it?
Oh, dude, early. It might have been the second or third.
Did you think about making a meal of it, like Lou Piniella or something? Like just going in hindsight,
of course,
do you
dude.
Wish you'd be like?
Well, I did afterwards. I couldn't let it go, and I had a few more Jello shots, and I went over there, and this guy was also he was also in the head, so I went up to him. I go, hey, just so you know, man. I go, I'm gonna be seeing you around the rest of the season. I go, I thought that was, and then at the point I go, I'm gonna kill it with kindness. I go, that was highly inappropriate the way you handle yourself on the field. I go, I was cheering on my teammate, and I think I don't know what's going on with you, but I feel like there's something that you need to figure out for yourself. I go, let me ask you something. I go, did you come from a single parent household? I go, I did as well, and I'm feeling a lot of the same emotions that you're going through right now, and just tried to really like throw. And then he was just like, whoa. He goes, no, man. He goes, my family's fine, man. I go, I didn't say anything about your family. I was talking about like you and what was happening when you were at your single parent. I go, which one did mom or dad like which? And he just goes, dude, fucking take it easy, man. I go, say one more thing, and then he's like, all right, man.
That's amazing.
And then he's like blood bubbled a little bit. It made me feel a little better. But yeah, man, that's
it's in you. There's a competitive spirit that is in you.
But you need that for our business, right? Like, but also, I think we can both attest. It's like you get to a certain point too where you're like, there's enough for everybody.
Yeah.
There's only one. Realizing that you are. Like what you do is you're hopefully get to a point where you've honed your skills enough and you have your feet dipped in enough pools where you're like, I do what I'm doing. I think like no one else can do what I'm doing in the way that I'm doing it, but then you want certain jobs and stuff, but then it's like there's so much out of our control that like you just can't.
I think it's a mixture. It's like
nobody like these shows that you've done like. You know how many people watch what you did on Better Late Than Never with those guys and could be like, oh yeah, dude, put me with a bunch of great guys and I'd chum up. No, you wouldn't, man.
Nah, yeah.
You're the best of that, and that's why you did it.
Considered Taylor Williamson.
Yeah.
And Taylor Williamson always, I was supposed to get that job. And it's like, no, you auditioned. Like they considered you for the position.
You didn't get it.
Right. He wasn't supposed to get it. He was considered for the job. And NBC was like, he was great on AGT. And I have no disrespect for Taylor Williamson. I have nothing negative to say about him. But if he did the show
That's
that
a
I
different
did,
choice.
it's a totally different
Yeah.
show. And I think that there's like, and again, like the show, maybe somebody else would have done it. It'd been an awesome show in a different way, but it would have been a different show. It
Yeah.
would have been like redoing history in a lot of
You
ways.
were so and again, it's like, you know, and when you make something that, I mean, some of those stories you were telling me about, some of the things that you did that were like off camera. I'm like,
yeah.
oh yeah, they saw that part because they're like, oh cool, building rapport when you're not filming and
Yeah.
being fun and just yes-anding every moment and then wanting to be here.
Yeah,
All these things that you've been building and strengthening like your whole life. Yeah, that's why you got it.
absolutely.
Oh, and hilarious. Oh, great. And fucking, you know,
Well, I
see,
think-
see a little bit of like, you know, Chubb sticking through his pants. Like, we've heard the stories, dude. Yeah.
You're sweet. Yeah, that's hilarious. All the things
It's a
before my
Seattle
chub
thing,
was
dude.
really
You know
nice.
it too, man. Come on, fist bump it, dude. Everyone's like, oh, what's in the water up there? Like, everyone from Seattle's got big dicks.
What's
And
with
you're
all these
like,
big
right.
dicks? That's a thing,
Yeah.
guys.
Hey,
That is
That's
a
a
thing.
thing. It's
I
just
want the
science. Don't blame
listeners
us.
to know. In case they haven't heard, I want to.
Yeah.
That is the thing I think that it is. It's like at some point you have to like do all you can do. But then once you've done all you can do each moment, remembering a lot of it's out of your control.
Yeah.
So it's both. It's doing as much as you can while also going, who knows?
And that's
Like-
an acquired skill set.
Like when I was an infant in my mom's, or not infant, but when I was like a little whatever inside my mom's stomach, it wasn't like I was like, oh, I had to work so hard to get like fingernails and I had to work so hard. Like, no, it just kind of happened.
Yeah, yeah.
And so like that's the same thing like in life.
you don't
Yeah.
know.
A
You
lot
don't
of
remember.
this
yeah,
stuff-
yeah.
You don't
I
remember.
didn't do
Don't
it.
quote
You know?
yourself.
Maybe you're in there
before you
trying to
could
go
quote.
Super Saiyan.
Yeah,
You're
like,
like,
I can't wait till I have feet. You know, like a lot of this is just kind of happening to us. It's the human experience, but a lot of it is how much your attitude and how much you
Yeah.
can work and stuff like. So it's a perfect combination of both. So if someone else gets something, you just go, you know, like that. It's going to be what that is.
How much of your public speaking world and experience do you feel like has just helped prepped you for all of this stuff?
100%. Like,
Yeah.
well, but not for like being on stage. Like, you know, you say like, oh, well, like it taught me to like speak into the microphone correctly or like have confidence or
Right.
not be nervous in front of people. More so than anything, when you learn stuff and you try to regurgitate it to other people, it's kind of like you're telling yourself. It's kind of like you're coaching yourself in a lot of ways. I feel like me and Jay Whitecott, and I worked with this great comedian in Texas this weekend. He's awesome. I've known him for a long time. And like we started talking to each other, and there was so many times me and him both were like, you know, when I'm telling you this, I'm also saying it to myself. Like, this is something I need to work on. It's something, a principle I need to practice.
Right.
So it's helping me kind of verbalize this to you, but I am in no way, you know, wise enough to remember and practice this every day, but I want to. So I think a lot of ways, like when I would speak to the kids, I'd be like, hey, you know, like you have to, so I did 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. And when I would talk to the kids, I would say like, you've got to do it. You have to like work on this. Nobody else is going to do it for you. They've got their own shit. 80% of these people don't care. And the other 20 aren't listening. Like this is, you know, the other 20% are happy it's you. They're happy it didn't, you know, like, so, but I would tell them those things. And then at the end of the night, I would like lay in my hotel bed and go, yeah, dude, I need to be working harder on my comedy. I could have wrote this morning and I didn't. Or I always tell young comedians like let's say JC Christ just did Conan. Or that's a bad example because he's doing great. But let's say a young comedian is going, he just did Last Comic Standing like myself. And he's going, well, why didn't they put me on the Tonight Show? It's like, well, you have to submit. You have to submit for the Tonight Show. Jimmy Fallon is not wandering around his office going, gosh, when can we get Jeff Dye? He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's working on his own career, his own wife, his
sight, out of mind,
family.
yeah.
He's got kids. He's got goals. And so you have to think like, you know, like you have to submit or there's no way you're going to get on this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think like learning that and like coaching myself on that.
I want to hear just from your public speaking experience, if you could just listen to one quick story of when I spoke at an elementary school that I was a student at, and I was a senior in high school, and this is when I was vice president, and you know, again, probably 2 days removed from being like, Jerry, I'm not returning MLB 2001. And then the first time I ever got really high in high school, I showed up to a party late because I had play rehearsal, and I get there to this party, a cool house party, and I just remember just like ripping a bong probably 7-8 times, a couple blunts. And again, just wanted to be like, man, it's cool. We got, a couple more months of school and then it's college, man. So I'm just prepping like, but this is, dude, weed, I'll be fine, man. I've done it twice before this, And then cut to me on the ground being like, I can't feel my legs. Someone call 911 or someone, but then also like trying to remain cool because like I didn't want the ambulance to come because I'm like, a couple months before I go to college, like this will probably be on my record or something. And then literally that Monday, this was Saturday, that Monday, I went to my elementary school to speak at the DARE graduation.
What an interesting thing. They asked you to speak
at the DARE graduation. Because I, just very active in the community service and athletics and the student government stuff. I was just, my GPA was good, but my test taking for SATs was dog shit. And USC's incoming class, the mean average was like 1580. And mine, I think the best I got was 1120. And I took it like 9 times.
Really? You took SATs 9 times?
I'm over exaggerating. 5 for sure.
Still, that's a lot.
Way too many. 2 is like, hey man, you bad at school,
yeah.
But also it was just like, I would second guess myself. I was just a bad test taker.
I took my SATs and they were like, if you don't answer the question, you can actually, if you don't know it, don't answer.
I didn't listen to that advice.
Because if you get it wrong, it works against you. I just left the whole thing blank. I was like, I don't know any of these. And they keep telling me not to answer, like, because I'm used to like in high school, I just guessed everything.
Yeah, just see.
That's what I did. I just guessed.
But so like the SATs, I'm just like, here's a blank math section. And they're like, this guy's an idiot. He's going to community college.
It was overwhelming. And so I'm at the school and I start off my speech. I was like, I'm going to really pound home the point of like, be active. And like, for me, at least it was, I had so much extracurricular stuff that I didn't have an opportunity to get into trouble. But that was my point. I should have opened with that. What I opened with was like, I go, look, I'm not going to tell you guys not to do drugs. And I just hear silence. And then in the very back, the PE teacher go, whoa.
They're like, cut his mic. This is not. He
so
opened with it?
audible. And then so I hear that and then I just go, and I go, all right, well, that like I definitely absorbed that. And I was like, definitely don't do them. I was just like, dude, is this guy equipped to speak at all?
That's
let alone
amazing.
in public? I'm like, definitely don't do them, but like, okay, so
the green ones are fine. The white one, you're not ready for.
It's like M&Ms. You want the holiday colored ones,
That's hilarious.
And then I was just like, I was really busy, so I didn't have an opportunity. I had opportunities, and like, temptation's always going to be there.
Yeah.
I was just hitting, I was trying to make it
Temptations will always
just
be
real.
there.
I was like, look,
listen, if Janine Hudson wants to show your pussy, like, what are you gonna do?
yeah. What?
The kids are like, what? And you're like, yeah, you gotta act on that. Who knows when this is gonna happen? She's gonna be married soon. And
There's going to be a lot of times when you're like, I should look the other way. Camp Orkyla. Look, for me, when I was in 6th grade, Camp Orkyla, it was our first school trip, and we went there, and Caitlin Peck, I'll never forget it, a bee went up her shirt, and she pulled it off in a fit of just hysteria. And I remember everyone looking around being like, those are the biggest, fattest boobs I've ever seen on a 6th grader. Those are also boobs, and I can't take my eyes off them. And the bee, I think, is stinging them as she's jiggling around. And it was a fucking thing of greatness and beauty. And I'll never stop. I'm thinking about it right now. The point is, kids, don't do drugs. DARE is the best. Like, I was just rambling, But by the way, that was like, I'll never forget that.
Oh.
You know what crazy? Somebody asked me the other day, they were like, when was it? Like, you remember like the first boobs you saw? And
yeah.
And I was like, Dad. No, I'm joking. Remember that? Remember when people used to do that?
That's everybody.
And I said, Mom.
What? Every open micer has that.
Yeah.
That's their first laugh.
And I said, Grandma, the first time I saw boobs, wait for the laugh. Yeah.
Yeah.
The first boobs I saw were yours, 2 minutes ago. Good night, everybody.
I think that's actually a good exercise for just humans. Say all right, let's say you have to give a motivational speech tomorrow of all the things you believe in and things that you think people should do for success. Write that speech out like you're going to have to give it to someone tomorrow. And obviously you're not going to give a speech, but just read that. It helps you come to terms your brain of like what's important to you and what you value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had it all written out too, man. My mom, when I ran for treasurer in the 4th grade of elementary school, and again, I was like, I'm going to be funny. I'm going to make a funny ass speech. And I went up there and I asked my mom for help. Comedic advice, get it from your mom, especially in the 4th grade. You're like, look, I know Sinbad.
She loves
I
show
know John
business.
Belushi. My mom loves show business. She's like, in 20 years, I'm going to be in the vagina monologues. I'm like, I don't know what that is. And she goes, I go, I want to do something about promising something and then not delivering on it. I like maybe be like, hey, you guys, I'm going to vote for me. You'll get McDonald's every day. And my
That's
mom
the
goes,
smart way to do it.
And she goes, yeah. And then I go, and then like, what can I put? And so the joke that she helped me write that I do, I open, I go, hey guys, my name's Adam. I'm running for treasurer. And you vote for me, we'll get McDonald's and ice cream every day for school. Pause. Not
What?
Do you see the look on my face right now?
Yeah,
I'm
it's horrible.
seeing what happened 20 plus years ago. Dead silence.
Still
Same teacher in the back.
haunting you.
Whoa, from 20 years. From 20
Why
years
do
too
we keep
soon.
letting him speak?
Whoa, you're gonna remember that noise because in 20 years you're gonna fuck up another speech. And so, and I just was like, oh god. And like, there, you don't have any
Not.
comedic chops to improvise off a bomb. So I just was like, so anyway, vote for me.
Thank you, vote for me. Bye.
Went home so pissed at my mom. By the way, you jump bombed, and she's like, "Fucking, you took my advice."
How
That's
should
on
I
you."
know? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a social worker.
I thought now was huge with the kids these days. It would have been great if you just kept promising things you couldn't get. I'll put a pool in the gymnasium, and they're all like, "This isn't." He's lying.
I'll
he's
fire Mr. Larson. You know he touches you guys. All right, vote for me.
Yeah, just keep saying things you
Plant
can't
rumors.
get. You guys want drugs? I can get you drugs. Like they're like, why is he promising?
Yeah. You know Mrs. Watkins can. Raise your hand, Miss Watkins. Where
Miss
you at?
Walker, I've heard she smokes with students.
Oh, she's not raising her hands. Her hands are in her pockets, feeling her nugs. Yeah, you got the best shit. All right, vote for me. Ice cream. Psych. Mama was a psych crowd. You have to go with not.
Yeah, this is your fault, Puddin'. Wait, so what are you working on now? Like, plug whatever you got going on.
So,
Podcast is killing it.
podcast is fun. It's called About Last Night. You've been amazing on it.
Thank you.
That's on iTunes and Spotify and all that. On season 2 of American Vandal right now, which
Nice.
is cool. I'm on like 5 of the 8 episodes.
You just did a movie.
I did a movie. Yeah, I was leading
Yeah.
this indie comedy with Thomas Lennon and John Kite and Richard Kind. And it was, look, have known me forever. It's like, I love stand-up. I love the podcast. Everything is synonymous at this point, and it all feeds the same beast. But like, I came here to act, and I want to be doing that all the time. And to be the lead in a movie first time was in a great movie, a good indie. It's got a very wet, hot American summer feel to it.
Nice.
About all these guys. It's called The Bellman. We all work at a hotel, and we were at this resort in Tucson for 3 weeks. And to be the lead of it, and like, again, it was so fun, and I was like locked in and prepped, and so we'll see. So that'll come out in the spring.
I'm sure it'll be great. Well, and also like, I always think about that too. Like, you did your best. It's going to be I'm sure it'll be hilarious, but also like, let's say nobody ever sees it, or it's like just something that lives like in the
Also
back
a
seat of like
possibility.
Netflix. You did it.
Yeah.
And it's super fun. And like, I feel like every actor that we respect and know has 200 movies, and 40 of them are like something that we quote every day. But like, it's just about doing it all the time, working that muscle and enjoying it and doing your best in each scene. And there's great people on that. I was watching your Instagram the whole time and being like, man, is this guy's on it too? And this
it was super fun.
Yeah.
And then there's She-Ra they're bringing it back on Netflix through DreamWorks.
It's the
cartoon.
I
Like
auditioned
He-Man's counterpart.
Yeah, I auditioned to do the unicorn, the horse's voice.
That's who I am.
That's who you'll be.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
You also would have crushed that too.
Yeah, well, it's like...
See, but that voiceover is one of those things too that's like, I bet you were in high contention for it. And it's like, voiceover is so subjective, where they're listening to voices being like, it's a slicing to like a timbre,
Sure.
where like maybe I had a little deeper of a resonance at one part, and they were like, yeah, a little more. Because once you get into a certain thing, again, out of your control, they're picking wallpaper. It's
Right.
like,
Well, and one thing I like about voiceover is, with the exception of like huge celebrities, they're pretty non-biased. They'll just be like, oh, this voice, because they did like a lot of time walking in the room, they're looking at your look, they're looking at different things. But like with voiceover, you're just sending it over, and they go, nope, whatever this guy is, put a pin in that.
Yeah.
And so that can be based on your read or your voice, but
I love that you went out for it. So are you going out for more voiceover stuff?
No, I don't get sent much, but I tell them
be.
I'd love to, because it's just one of my many goals is to definitely be on
Cartoon.
like Simpsons or some sort of thing like that.
But also you're
Not necessarily Simpsons, but something like that, where someone goes, "Oh, I know your character."
Yes.
Like, yeah,
And
like
your natural
Eric Andre,
cadence.
the
Oh yeah.
his little demon, and what's that movie? Disenchantment. It's a show.
Oh yeah, the new one from
Disenchantment, right? I've seen every episode. I don't even remember the name, but it's the same people that made Futurama. Matt Groening, Futurama, Simpsons, and he's great in it. It's very funny. I don't think it sounds like Eric Andre.
He's got an insane set of pipes. Like he can.
I don't think it sounds like him at all.
No,
I've watched the entire series not knowing he was the voice of that little kitty cat demon, but
they should bring back. Wasn't WWF a cartoon at one
it
point?
was Saturday morning cartoons.
Trying to get that re-brought back
That'd
and
be
do
amazing.
some voices on that.
Yeah, I think I just want to, just be on a cartoon, check that like box. And then because of, I think that's how voiceover works. You get one thing, they give you like a zillion. Like you start
More or less,
getting more work.
It is a small community as I've seen, but even the amount. I mean,
It's tough to get into, and once you're in it, you're
Dude,
pretty
I've
in it.
auditioned for voiceover for 10 years before I started to get anything of significance.
Yeah.
And it's
Dude, Slimer on Ghostbusters.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean,
That was
that's such
And
a
that was-
small thing or whatever, but
Yeah.
like, not to me.
yeah. No, it's
That's
very cool
actually,
to me.
that's
yeah.
one of those like incredible, like,
Yeah.
oh, what? Like,
yeah.
I love Slimer. Like,
You know,
that's
it's so
such
funny.
a cool.
I was when I was doing it because I had made this fake audition tape. Did you ever see that I made? And sent
no,
to Paul
I've heard
Feig?
the story, though,
I bought
that you-
this Slimer mask online because I was like, I was asking Paul's assistant. I was like, do you think have they cast it here? He's like, no, I don't think he's focusing on that yet. I was like, and they're probably not going to need somebody famous. Like, they're not going to need. You know,
It's
like
a
a
cameo.
Jay Leno to be like, "Hey, I'm Slimer. Look how Ghostbusters." You know, and so I was like,
Well,
"So they
also
could probably."
Slimer doesn't sound. He has
Yeah, he
no.
doesn't talk. Yeah, yeah. So I was like, yeah, they probably don't. You know, so I bought this mask and I sent this fake audition tape where he was like, and opens on me in my face just through the mask, and I'm like, "What's up, everybody? Slimer. It's my audition tape for Ghostbusters. I was in the first two, so I don't see why I have to put myself on tape. But fuck it, I'll play the Hollywood game." And then I just did a few examples of me doing the voice, and then a bunch of like dumb jump cuts of like, this is now like Slimer catching the getting caught for the first time, and then would do the voice, and then I would do this is Slimer hitting on a girl at a funeral, and then him like sad music, and then him just like looking down and looking up and be like, psst. And then just cuts away real quick. So here's Slimer in traffic, but then his favorite Indigo Girls song comes on. So I'm sitting there just being like, and you hear all these traffic sounds, and I got my hand on the wheel. I'm like, fuck, God, come on, move it. And you just hear, I went to the doctor, I went. And I just go, oh, hell yeah. I turn on the jump cuts to someone else.
That's great.
Yeah, and so then I went and did the session and opened up the book, and it said Slimer. He kind of surprised me, and yeah, again, so small and insignificant in the movie, but way cool. And I remember Michael McDonald, who was also in it, at one point he was like, so what did you do for that? And I was like, well, I would like drink a bunch of water and then just kind of like wet the palate a lot and be spitting a lot and then just be and doing all that stuff a lot. And he goes, oh, great. Now I know how you eat pussy. And I was like, oh, Jesus, dude.
Wow, he went blue on this. This is Slimer, right?
Yeah, thanks.
one of the
It's a
good
children's
guys.
iconic.
He's one of the good guys.
Yeah, he's one of the good guys.
I liked it when I was like 7. You can't say pussy about this. Now you know how Slimer ate
Thank
pussy.
you.
Mike McDonald.
Yeah.
Wait, so when does the indie film come out? Or you don't know?
They're March, I think.
Cool.
And then stand up on the road a bunch.
Are you doing how many weekends a year are you doing, you think?
I probably do 2 to 3 a month.
That's a lot.
It is, and but I
How
still
much
really
of it's the
like it.
podcast?
How much? What?
Do you do? I know that I saw one time in Utah. It was the About Last Night podcast.
Yeah. Brett and I, we do live ones every now and then. We're doing a live one at Comedy Works in Denver, and one in Arizona at the podcast festival coming up down there on October, I think 26th at the Improv, and they're super fun. I mean, we would love to get to a point to where, like those are packed and we can make good money doing that and go on a little live pod tour because that's the best. But I'm trying to, I've been doing 11 years and I want to definitely do a special in the next year.
Yeah.
I said that last year. I was like, this fall, I'm going to shoot one on my own regardless. And I did that a couple weekends ago. And so now I'm like piecing it together. And I think I'm at least going to take 30 of that. And I have a buddy at Netflix who can't make the decision, but is high up in the comedy thing to where he's like, I will help you if you get me a really cool thing to push on, Robbie, who was the guy who's tough to get to watch something that's not of a superstar.
Right.
And so,
or even just edit it and say, listen, here it is.
I don't want to just put it on my website though. I don't want to just
don't
put
do that.
it out.
But like edit it, send it to Netflix and say, listen, you can pick my clothes, you can pick the setting, you can pick the jokes you like.
Yeah.
Here's all the material.
Yeah.
I shot this just for you to see.
I had my buddies, I hired them to do a really great, it looks awesome at the Bray Improv. But what's so funny and great about this business again is like literally last weekend in Buffalo, I added to this whole story I have about Albertsons, about working the joke that you saw me one time about the kid who had bad groceries with the kid with Down syndrome.
Oh yeah.
And you came with me afterwards and said, man, you had this like 3 very offensive words in one joke. That's all now gone. And the ending of that is a cleaner, funnier.
It's great.
And it took me a year to play around with that and get that. And I got that a couple of weekends ago. And on the tape I did in Brea, it wasn't that. And I'm like, well, now I don't even want to submit it based on that because now that bit is so much stronger. but I can't edit in what I've added to it.
I see that.
I could cut it at a certain point and be like, that's what that, and leave
Right.
it. But being a perfectionist with it. But yeah, I mean, you, when are you going to do a special?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I've got a high amount of pride. So when people say to me and say like, "Oh, you want to do a special on this?" I go, "No, I'm waiting." And if Netflix says
You got more than enough material.
And if Netflix is like, "We don't want Jeff Dye," then I'll wait till they want Jeff Dye.
Really?
Yeah, I'm fine with that because
and this is
2 years ago, Tiffany Haddish was begging people for guest sets on shows, and now she wouldn't go to any of those shows unless she was getting 40 grand. She's no less talented then than she is now. She's always
had all
been
that, yeah.
beautiful. She's always been smart. She's always been talented. She's always been high energy and great and positive. All these things
From the get-go.
The difference is their perspective changed on her. So my time will come, and that's going to happen, and then they're going to pay a lot for it. They'll pay a lot of money for the same special that they can have now.
Wow.
But if they don't want it, that's okay.
So you don't feel any sort of like pressing need to like get like, you're obviously with enough of everything going on, getting a full calendar. So you're like, I don't need it for that.
Right.
But do you have like a need where you're like, I need to get this material out. There's a shelf life on this, or
Yeah, and I do albums with 800-Pound Gorilla
Yep.
to like do that and whatever. And like then the Tonight Show, I'm always writing for that. I'm
Yep.
always like thinking
Yep.
of what will be
That's
the next
big time.
set. And so for
all right,
me,
yeah. So I guess having that, and that's if I had something like that, a consistency on a big late night show,
Right.
late night show, then maybe my perspective will be different as far as a need for tape that's
Right.
out there, because you do want to. I think that's where I'm coming from too. Is that like I not that. There are obviously so many of us, and so there's a lot of people that don't even could know that you do it,
Right.
But also I'm like, I need tape to just
Daniel Tosh once told me in a group that like he wishes he could have done, like he's not real proud of his first specials.
Yeah.
But if he could have waited and pieced together the best kind of almost highlight reels of all those albums and material that he did into one special, it would be phenomenal and like through the roof because he's kind of gotten to pick the best bits instead of just being like, I'm trying to think of an example of a comedian that's, blowing up on Netflix. Like instead of them
Tom
just
Segura.
doing it an hour every couple of years or doing an hour because it's hot.
Yeah.
What if you had 10 years of material, 13 years of material, 20 years of material, and you just did those home runs of each thing into one special? People be like, what is this guy, a goddamn genius? Like, this is the best special we've seen. So is it hard to wait? Sure. I'm not hurting for money, and I'm not hurting for
gigs.
Yeah, everything's fine. So if they need me to wait because I'm not famous enough yet, then that's fine. And it's just kind of like I'm
That's
comfortable.
a very healthy mentality.
Yeah. And I think there's other things that I'm, like, if my manager's like, oh, no auditions this month, I'm like, no, that's unacceptable. Like, I'm very timely. No,
Yeah.
I want to be out there, getting in these rooms. But for something like that I'm confident in, it's okay.
What if somebody like Oxygen came along and they were like, look, we're getting in the stand-up comedy game, Jeff. We'll give you $500,000
It's
to do a
happened.
20-minute special.
It's happened.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, not Oxygen, but there's other things that have been like, well, Amazon's thinking about doing. But here's the thing. Everyone knows, go watch your stand-up on the number one Netflix. That's where you watch
And
it.
until somebody else...
And a lot of them suck, and a lot of them are great. But everyone knows that's where they live.
I heard Chappelle had an opportunity to be the first guy at Apple, and there was a lot of money being thrown his way. And he said no, because of Netflix.
Right.
Also, I think there were probably some concerns on his part of being like I think Apple is going to be a big player very soon as far as like content in general. Like stand up, I think will be a part of it. They have a lot of shows in development right now. And come on, man, like everything, like on all, like everything, like you got
we all
Netflix
have
on your
Apple,
phone,
everything,
but
yeah.
it's on the Apple phone or more or less. But I think there will come a time where it's surprising me that it hasn't happened yet.
There'll
That
be
like
another
Hulu,
thing, I think,
Hulu is
maybe.
definitely, I think, going to be a bigger player in the coming years. Once Disney gets their streaming service going, I don't know if they'll do stand up, but
Just more content,
yeah,
more
what everyone wants,
opportunities.
yeah. Well, dude, I love you, man.
I love you too.
So happy you came to do this.
This is awesome, man.
Yeah, I feel like.
I listen to the pod, and I'm not just saying that.
Oh, really?
I've told you that.
I didn't. I don't remember that.
I've listened to the first, the Brooke one, the Piven one. The first few didn't have guests, right? They were just.
There's been a couple where we didn't have guests, but those are more recent. Last
The
week's was
first
JC
three-
Karias.
Okay. Amazing.
It was a home run.
I'll tell you.
Dang.
There's been episodes where we're like, this was fun, but like you listen to the JC Cries one, he's just such a big. You should have him on your podcast.
Okay, yeah.
You'd love him.
Yeah.
He's a psycho, and he's the best. I mean, it's amazing.
It's good to have those eps every now and then.
Oh
where you're just
my
like,
god!
Yeah.
You're like, who is this creature? Yeah, it's so fun. But yeah, thank you so much, dude.
Yeah,
so like you
dude.
said, you got the
Tour
show.
dates, AdamRayComedy.com, podcast about last night. Yeah, She-Ra's out in November. And then American Vandal, you can watch now.
Which is great.
It's great, right?
It's great.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
It's I'm not a big crime drama person, but I think they nailed the genre.
Yeah.
And like, come on, man. Again, poop is always funny. Somewhere Oprah is pooping.
That's true.
I'll vote for him.
That's deep, dog. That's deep, player. Tony, you got anything to plug?
I got my video game podcast, Screen Peekers. There's a lot of stuff going on there.
You moving a lot of shirts?
No. So buy a shirt.
No. I tried to sell shirts once online. Guess how many I sold?
I don't know.
You'll get one guess. Go ahead.
0.
You nailed it. No one.
I want a shirt. I'll buy one.
A shirt.
Send me to the Jeff.
All the people were like, yeah, look, I'll buy these. No one bought it.
Yeah.
Everyone was interested. Oh, those are fine. But no one bought it.
I bet Puddin will buy one. I told her I was coming over tonight. She was like, give him a hug for me. Puddin.
Oh, yeah. But
Yeah.
she'll rock one.
Yeah.
I've had people come to my shows with custom shirts that they made of what, but like nobody wanted the shirts.
Yeah.
Puddin,
Thank
by
you
the
guys.
way, big fan. And because she always says, she goes, Jeff was the first guy to let you do a hometown gig.
Oh,
Remember
that's-
Giggles?
I like that she
Remember when
remembers that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was, I don't know if that was pre or post the night when I went up as a frat dude from University of
Dude,
Washington.
it was definitely before that, but
Yeah.
it was. I'll briefly
what?
share this and then we'll leave.
Okay, yeah.
To this day, I've never laughed as hard as that moment. I wasn't
You can
stoned.
hear him on the video.
I wasn't drunk. I'm ruining the video because I'm
No,
going.
it should be
with
ruined.
my like
In today's
laugh.
climate, if it's out there,
Oh,
I'm ruined.
It's the best. And here's the pitch. Adam goes, I think I'm gonna pretend to be a frat guy. And
is
do all
easy.
my material at the open mic like I'm some dude who just came from UW because Giggles is right by UW, and I'll just bomb, I'll act like I'm an open micer doing new jokes that I just wrote as like a UW frat guy.
Yeah, but these jokes are
And he
just...
wore like a big vest, and he put gel in his hair, so his hair was all
yeah,
like
had
whatever.
a UW sweatshirt
And
on.
he just went up, was like, "What's going on, guys?" And he's just like,
It was like a lot of broken sentences, but like, and still like enough of a joke to where like the timing was
It
like...
looked like something someone read. It was so accurate, so funny. He was like, one of the jokes is you're like, so we're like Starbucks. Sometimes, sometimes this goes like, spit it out. It's like a small like shitty crowd. He's like, hey man, this is like hard. Like this isn't as easy. And then like her like fratty dudes that were with her like, yeah, come on, be
Yeah,
easy.
give
They're
him a
like
chance.
showing empathy. To
He's a
him.
Phi Delta. I know it's our rival, but he's trying his best.
And then he goes, sometimes like dudes would come in and be like, "Can I have like a caramel frappuccino latte, lotto?" I'm like, you also want to suck a dick while you're at it? It was like, I'm
Yeah,
mad.
so I was like my dad just went into this. We went to this Chinese restaurant and my dad was on. He was driving. That's what it was, and he got hit by this Chinese restaurant owner. And the guy and he hit my dad, and my dad turned around. And he was all like, "Fucking, you hit me, dude. But if you give me some fucking kung pao chicken, we'll call it square." And the guy was all, all fucking Chinese and shit. Just so.
One of Adam
Just
Ray's
no
lines,
joke, like, oh, come on, man. I think we didn't say it, but like a Chinese guy. come
one
on,
of his
man.
lines was like, and I was like, bro, like, eat rice, dude. Like that was like one of his like.
my punchlines.
But the thing was, Adam's doing a character,
Yeah.
and he's bombing on purpose, and he's
bought it, I think.
knowingly they're laughing,
Yeah.
they're like going like they're
Because I was
so
milking
into it.
the sincerity of like, as the pauses and me actually stumbling and being like, and then I would have to think I had a paper. I'd be like,
No, you kept looking at the paper.
yeah. I was like, so like, go eat some fucking rice. All right, what else?
You know when the crowd turned on you?
I looked down on the paper.
Not the crowd, but the girls that were in the crowd turned on you when you were like talking about how this chick was fat. That's what pissed them off. And she was like fucking fat. And then the two guys laugh, and then the girls are like,
Hey.
that's not funny. And then they're like defending you to her.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was the funniest. Because my favorite thing in the world is messing with the public.
Well, that was your idea.
I love, Sacha Baron Cohen or Jackass or prank shows, and like he was literally doing the worst person you can think of,
and just committing
they're
so
like,
hard.
Isn't he the best?
Yeah.
So,
But guess what? Wouldn't have just done it for myself. It's like, again, like I needed an audience. Like you being like, this would be funny if you did this. And I was like, okay, you got to be there though.
I
So
gave him
can
a joke
play
that
the-
like didn't work. I was like, here's my impression of like a gay dude that we're about to beat up.
Dude, it was so awful. It's like so like purposefully, ignorant and just awful.
On
Just
purpose.
terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just be the worst person ever.
Because also we were like, what are the because then you think about as an audience member, like, what if you were watching this? Like, what? So it's and I'm looking in some of these people's eyes as they're looking at me, and I'm saying this stuff, which is so fucking crazy because you're like, oh, they think I think this stuff.
Yeah.
Which is
right.
the best part, I think, for me, is that like, the worst humans would make great characters. Like they're very funny characters.
Oh yeah.
All right, man.
Amazing.
I love you to death.
I love you
Thanks
too.
for being here,
Thanks
brother.
for having me, guys.
Friendship.
How great was that? I told you. I knew you'd love it. Join us next week. Patreon subscribers, go subscribe. If you already subscribed, we love you. Thank you. Check out us on iTunes, Podbean, anywhere you get your podcasts. And more importantly, just know we love you and we love making this for you. We out.